We actually are set up a little bit differently today. We got a different kind of show. I thought it was awesome if we would bring in a guest, and I had the rare opportunity to do a little FaceTime talking with my buddy Brent. But I just want to let you know that right now we're on 9 different social media platforms, I think. And the main platform that we broadcast off of is Facebook. This group page is Beating Cancer Today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I think this is going to be like our 12th broadcast, so we're right at a dozen. So hopefully within the 12 episodes that we've done, we've actually been able to reach somebody who really needed to hear the message. And if that did happen, and that's what I pray for, if that's what happened, then I think that we're doing some good work here. So as always, remember, I'm not a doctor. I have no medical training. I have zero scientific education whatsoever. I'm just a guy with stage 4 colorectal cancer that was sent home to die, and I just had different plans. So I didn't want to die, so I kept digging and digging and digging. And actually, the best part of today was having the opportunity have an opportunity to talk to somebody who's actually part of my story. And if you flip back through the episodes, you could see, I think episode 1, I talked about a gentleman that my crazy sister, who is huge into church, and unbeknownst to me, I had no idea that the network was so big. But so she goes to church with somebody who goes to church with somebody who goes to a different church with somebody, which is 6 times removed from 10 other people, and somehow, some way, my beautiful, beautiful sister heard about this gentleman's story through her friend at church. They shared a mutual friend, and this gentleman's story is Brent. Brent, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. It's just it's a blessing to even get to spend time with you, because you're a vital part of my story. Um, Flipping back the calendar, um, September September 1st, I think it was
21, wasn't it?
2021. Yeah,
2021.
yeah, 2021. I I
I remember the call well.
took a leap of faith, and
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
yeah.
went,
No, I was on the roof, one of the
yeah,
houses that was inspected, and I was like, "Hey," and you say, "Hey, this is Kevin." And I said, "Hey, Kevin," and I was just trying to get my balance on top of the roof, and you go, "Hey, you do you I got your name from my sister's friend, a friend." And I gotta go. Whoa, hold up, slow down. What's going on? You said, "Ah, man, I got stage 4 colorectal cancer, and I've been beat up from Moffitt, for the last 2 or 3 years, and they basically said there's not much else that they can do for you as far as their medicine." And I was like, "Well, hold on, let me get off the roof, and I'll call you back." And so and he didn't believe me, right? You didn't believe me that I would call you back, but I was like,
oh
I jumped
God,
off the roof because I know how that feels. We all have our own stories. We all have our own battles that we are going through or went through. And mine was not particularly fun, but back in 2020 during the lockdown, right when it opened up, and I couldn't use the bathroom for 4 days, and I never had that problem. And I finally said to my wife, I said, "We tried everything, enemas, everything, putting the legs against the wall and everything. Nothing worked. Call them doctor friends, and they were saying, 'Oh, you're probably blocked,' and everything." I was like, "I don't know, man. The gas is coming out, not coming out, it's staying in. So it's blowing up my stomach and staying in there. So this is not normal."
and this
And
is
so
right around the pandemic too, right?
it was actually, yeah, 331. So it was March 31st, 2020. And so that I called the doctor, and she was doing virtuals only. We're at that point already. And so she goes, "Yeah, why don't you go down to outpatient? Right next to the hospital, there's the x-ray. Go get an x-ray and see what it is." So
And
I
the
got the x-ray.
pandemic was like March of 2020, or
Yes,
February of
yes,
2020.
yes. When we had the lockdown here in
Yeah,
Florida,
so
well, I guess
you
everywhere.
just got locked down, and that's started to
Yes.
go to the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was just, it was all new to us, and we were like, okay, we're trying to figure out everything as the COVID thing goes, and trying to find toilet paper. But well, actually, I didn't need it those 4 days. But but the what I found out was the doc called me an hour later, and she goes, you got some kind of blockage in there. I go, what do you mean? And she's like, well, there's something that's not right, and so I don't know what it, obviously it's x-ray. It's not as good as a CAT scan. And so I go, what are you suggesting? She goes, go to the hospital. I was like, oh gosh. I go, yeah, it's lockdown, and everybody's freaking out and everything like that. And they're not letting patients in because you're a candidate. So go there. And so I went masked up and went to the hospital, and it wasn't too bad, but I picked the newer hospital and packed a bag because I didn't know how long it was going to be. And when I got in there, they did a CAT scan to go, uh, yeah, you got something in there, and most likely it's a mass. And I go, what do you mean, like cancer? And I go, yeah. I mean, we don't know anything. We're going to do a sigma scope, which they scope in. Well, they couldn't do obviously a colonoscopy because I was blocked, in my sigmoid.
Yeah.
So they did a sigma scope, and they came out when I woke up. They go, oh yeah, goes, I've seen a lot of these. I'm sorry. It most likely it's cancer, and I was like, really? And I was like, like everybody, that when you get that thing, you're like, whoa, so many thoughts are going through racing my head. I was like, no, we don't have cancer in our family, I don't think. And it's only colon cancer, and I'm the healthiest one out of my family. What is going on? Eating organic, even my beer was organic, and so I couldn't make any sense of it. Like we all try to figure out what we do wrong, what we eat, what we did. But at that point, I picked up the phone, called my mom, and I said, Mom, do we have colon cancer in our family? She goes, oh yeah, your grandmother had it. I was like, oh my gosh. And not that I would have done anything different because, I thought I was the healthiest one out of the family. And so
At least
she
you have
goes,
it in your family.
yeah, I have it. You don't have it in your
Mine
family?
was purely from self neglect. So
Wow.
no, I
Wow.
don't have it in
Yeah.
my family at all.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well, let me say this. So, fast forward to the test. I did from Moffitt. They gave me the DNA test. Well, they said there's no familial relation to it, which I go, this makes no sense. My grandma
yeah,
had it. How they, I mean, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but did it go, my grandma had it. So there's got to be, and she's like, we're not seeing it. And I didn't have all the other aggressive genes in there either. So I guess there's something to be happy about. But so anyways, I was floored. And so they were able to do it laparoscopy. He said, well, I might have to zipper cut you and everything like that. And you might get a colostomy. I said, I don't care. Just get it out of me. And so I woke up, they were able to do laparoscopically. They took out about the size of a tangerine out of my colon, sigmoid. So, I was in the lockdown. I got a lot of attention from the nurses because I was the only one in there, but I stayed another 2.5 weeks because my intestines didn't like it. I had an ileus where I all backed up with the gas and all that. So I couldn't eat anything. I was losing weight, wasting away. And I was like around 172. And when I got out of there, I was 135 2 weeks later. And then I had to go back in 2 weeks later.
yeah. So
And good.
you never got the bag though.
No, he luckily he goes, I was able to get it laparoscopically, barely pull it out, laparoscope, he didn't know it was so big. But so I didn't get zipper cut and I never got the colostomy. And so, I didn't have to, figure all that out, but, which you did, right?
Yeah, I got the ileostomy bag, which is
Okay.
higher up. It's higher up
Okay.
in I guess it's still in your abdomen, but I
Yeah. Yeah.
think
Yeah.
the colostomy bag, I think, is your lower left, and this is like a upper right. I think I'm not sure what the colostomy is, but I think that. Well, I do know what the ileostomy is, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
high right
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
in my abdomen. Um,
But
but
so,
then I had it
go
for
ahead.
like 6 months, and then they reversed it. And
Yeah, and some
obviously,
people don't reverse it, which is crazy to me. Some people are like, I don't want to go through that, or I don't want to take a chance of spreading. So all these things that which I didn't know, I know about now, but at that time I don't know anything about any of this. It just fixed me, and so he did, but I had to go back in 2 weeks later because I got intussusception, where it means my small intestine went inside itself, and like like telescope back inside itself.
yeah,
So that I had to go back and get laparoscopic surgery again and pull that and to get some adhesions out. So I lost some more weight because I was stuck in the hospital with the back, couldn't eat anything again. So that was the scare. My wife was like, "Wow," So when I got out, she was just floored, and then she couldn't remember. She couldn't see me this whole time. So I'm like doing video. I mean, of course, I'm talking to her
Oh,
and
yeah.
the
Yeah.
family, but I started posting on Facebook, and I would say, "Hey, this is what's going on to me. Go check yourself before you wreck yourself like me," because it would have been a lot easier if I decided to take a polyp out instead of a tangerine. And now look at what's going on. Now I get to go look at the bright side of chemotherapy and whatever else they have. My so the right away the oncologist came in and said, hey, Fofox and oxyplatin and whatever and fu whatever it is, and so all those normal ones they give you for colon cancer, and so and every one of them I talked to a couple of different because I was like I want to get a couple different opinions, and right off the bat, Kev, I knew that I was more holistic, if you will. I thought I was. I mean, or I was practicing as much that I knew at the time. And so I was, the chemo part made me a little nervous. I know that worked for some people, and I know about the collateral damage, obviously, and it's cumulative. And so the more you do it, the more it's breaking down your immune system.
Yeah.
And so, but
I did 3 straight years of
everybody in my family
chemo.
was so worried about me dying that they go, "You gotta do chemo and everything." And so I said I fought. I'm not gonna. It was a little challenging that time because I was like, I don't want to do it. I just I want. There's got to be other things out there, and then so I went ahead and got the port. Reluctantly got the port, and got a new oncologist, fired a couple, but because she said she'll let me do like other things, what as long as I uh, you know do what she wants. But not what I say. I should say that she didn't say that. She said that if you I'm a one of these will let you do certain things, but I know that won't interact with the chemo. I said, I have no problem. I want to interact. So if curcumin, whatever, I don't want to do curcumin. Okay, during that time, I heard different things. So she was cool about that. And then so as we got into, I got my first dose of chemo, which I was nervous about, but and it was still during the lockdown, so my wife couldn't come in with me or anything like that, and so uh, you know, um, I went in there, did it, and it was fine. But when I was coming home, when I was walking around the neighborhood, I had the drip machine, the little cassette player. It was dripping the Fofox or whatever the next
Yeah.
one you take home for 48 hours,
Yeah.
and it was the medical marijuana. I just had some CBD oil, THC, but I was talking to the neighborhood, and one of the other ladies that had my neighbor that was fighting cancer too, and I was like, "Oh, it's not bad. The chemo's not bad." And all of a sudden, I go, "Oh my gosh, hold the bike, hold the dog." I'm passing out. And so it was like a rush coming through my head, laid down the grass for like 5 minutes. And then the neighbors picked me up and took me home. I decided right then, I was like, and like I said, it might have been THC, but I was not having this. I go, I don't want this part of, I don't want to go through all the cloud damage. But on top of that, as we hear more and more about COVID, it didn't make sense that I take something that's going to break down my immune system to the point where I have no defense whether I get COVID or anything else. And we knew nothing at that time about COVID. How strong was it? We just knew a lot of people were getting sick from it and passing away. So I told my wife and family. I said, "Listen, guys." And my doctor. I conferred with an integrative not college MD out in Arizona, Dr. Sunil Pai, and I got him. The only reason I got a hold of him because it was lockdown, and we did a Zoom. And he's like, "Listen, I have many patients. I'm going to test you, Brent, and see what's going on with all your body fluids and everything like that, and we'll see how we can address it with supplements and everything like that." I was hearing all kinds of different things of what's going on out there at the same time. And one of the things that I heard about that was my dad's friend from Vietnam called me. He goes, "Hey, Brent," I go, "I know you're doing chemo." And I was like, "Dude, I know I don't want to do chemo, man." But he's like, I just got to tell you a story." And I was like, "What's that?" And he's like, "Well, uh, you know, I have a friend that had prostate cancer going to one of the best hospitals out there in Texas, MD, Anderson." So I was like, "Yeah, what about him?" And so he goes, "Well, he did chemo radiation and wasn't stopped working. Then he found out about this protocol that this guy's taken, And I go, what is it? Just tell me what it is, And I was getting frustrated, and he's like, well, I don't know. It's just he's taking some kind of dewormer, and I was like, okay, well, do you have a website and everything like that? And he's like, yeah, mycancer.story.rocks. And so I didn't think anything above it. He said it's an animal dealer. I just thought it too crazy at the time. So I went down my other rabbit hole trying to find more unconventional, but more conventional
Yeah.
alternatives in there stuff that. Okay.
Hold on, I'm sorry. So this was, I just want to catch up here so I know. At this point, it was only in your colon, but they had already
Yeah. So
removed.
yeah. So I'm sorry. Yeah, I had stage three. I don't know if it's B or C or whatever it is, but it's stage three colon cancer. Two of my lymph nodes out of 18, and when they cut it out laparoscopically, had cancer in it. So yeah, so it's stage three. It broke out, and so it hadn't shown up anywhere else now. So the good news about for me is at that time is that the my CEA was down at 1 when I got out of there, and I don't know if they tested during the time, but when I got first started getting tested, it was hanging around 1. All my scans, I had a lot of scans during that time, and everything was showing nothing on the radar. So how they were selling me, the oncologists and everybody that was trying to sell me on the chemo will take care of anything that's collateral flying around the system and everything like that. Those circulating tumor cells. And so now I know what I know. Now it's not necessarily true because yes, it might kill off or shrink the tumors and make them go away, but it doesn't. Chemo doesn't kill the stem cells, which is all the
Well,
reasons it
there's
comes
no
back.
doubt. There's no
Yeah.
doubt chemo works.
Yes.
But the
Yes. Yeah.
problem is
Yeah.
that it not only kills that, it kills the good stuff too. And the bad stuff eventually adapts. The cancer cells adapt to it and they eventually overcome it. The chemo doesn't change, the cancer cells change, which is going back to the stem cells that you're referring.
Yes, yeah, and you're correct. And so and I didn't know that until I
That's why
started.
it comes and goes and comes and goes.
Well, yeah, and so you have it in there as dormant. So those little, so we'll get to the part where I'm at now. In fact, I'm at a IVC clinic right now. I'm here getting I get ozone first, so they take blood out in like a little pint bag, I guess it is, and they drain it out there, my blood. They take the ozone gas and squirt it in there in the back, shake it up. That drips back into me first, and so that intensifies the effects of the vitamin IVC. And then the IVC, I get a high dose because you got to have a high dose where it's almost having a chemotherapy effect itself with being at a high dose. If you do a lower dose, it's good, but it's not doing for cancer. Yeah. In fact, that's why today I just picked up a glucometer, and which you use for diabetes, and we did it before. It was like a 100 or 115 for my glucose, and now we're going to test it afterwards to see how much vitamin C because it will trigger like a glucose. It will register as like glucose, and we learned this from Dr. Lucas, who I'm getting ready to have a consultation with here on Thursday, and he worked with the Reardon Clinic forever. He was like the fathers of the vitamin C therapy, So it's a great therapy to add to. It's one of my on the protocol that I've been doing that I would call it. I was added not last year, and it helped drop my numbers. Now my circulating tumor cell numbers, which are Signatera, which most of the cancer people understand that they're taking. There's Bioset, which I took first, but it doesn't take part of your tumor. So I think the Signatera test, in my opinion, from what I'm reading too, is a more accurate test because it's taking part of your tumor and matching up the blood or the cells with the cells of your blood and seeing how many of those circulating tumor cells are in your blood. So they give you a number. Nobody's told me what the number means, but I just assume because it seems common sense, higher number, the worse off you are, or chance of it
Well,
setting up shot.
and
So that's what I've been dealing with. Good.
well, it's in comparison to your original biopsy, right? So the numbers in comparison, that's supposedly what tells the tale as far as what gauges your progress.
Well, yeah, but it's also just because it's so the other test I took was Biocept. It's just taking the circulating tumor cells. So they can detect all a bunch of different circulating tumor cell tests, but by Signatera, by taking part of your tumor, it's getting those colon cancer cells, and they're identifying them from the tumor, and then they go, okay, this is how many of those little suckers are going around in your system, right? Okay,
yeah, it's
so
true.
that's what I like. So for me, the
What happened to you? Oh, Brent, I think you're still there. I think you're still there, but I think the camera went out there for a second. I don't know what happened. Um, well, nevertheless, Brent was just talking about the he's doing this IBC drip, right? So he actually is in the middle of a treatment. Um, I think he's trying to actually get back on now, but he's in the middle of a treatment, which is homeopathic type treatment right now as we were just doing this. So maybe he has bad reception or something.
there you
Oh,
go.
there
Sorry
he
about
is.
that.
There he is.
Yeah, sorry about that. My wife's calling in, checking on me because she knows that I'm about to get out of the chair. So, but what was I saying about the circulating? Oh, so the circulating tumor cell test is one of the ones that I look at. Is one of course the scans was are amazing because they're seeing something, but the tests are showing stuff that's going on before it turns into a tumor, which I think it would be the size of a pea to recognize it on the scans. From
well,
what I hear. Yeah.
well, Brent, before because I know you're about to your time's almost up on the
I'm good actually. I
on
got
the IV.
yeah, I've still got more in the bag here.
Okay,
So
okay,
yeah,
good,
yeah.
good.
Mm.
All right. Well, I just want to circle back to the cancer after they took the tumor out and you opted out of chemo at that point. Like you discontinued chemo, I guess. Um, did it spread from there, or
Never
did it
spread.
stay
It never spread, and so that's
go to
another
your
reason why
liver, or
I no, it never
okay, but
spread.
it was in your lymph nodes?
Yeah, it was in my lymph nodes, but in around my colon. So my doctor thought he got clean margins, which most doctors say, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and they don't know. I mean, they obviously they do the best they can. They cut as wide as they can, whatever. But from what I'm seeing from all the tests, that every test I can take, I'm all good. So why do the chemo? So that made no sense, especially with the COVID
Yeah.
there. And I didn't want to do it either. So my doctor, Dr. Sunil, said, listen, if you don't believe in it, Brent, it's not going to work for you. You got to believe the chemo is going in there and killing the cancer. So it's a mindset, brother. And so I said I get it. Well then, yeah, I definitely need to quit it because I don't, And I said it's not for everybody. I'm not, was my decision, but this is before I even knew about everybody that like Chris beat cancer. Of course, I got
Yeah.
introduced to him while I was in the hospital, and he's been awesome as far as his
In fairness,
guidance.
though,
Huh?
chemo doesn't always work for everybody. It didn't work for me.
Yes. Yeah.
So I believed in it. I blindly believed in it and didn't work for me. In fact, quite the contrary. I'm paying dearly for the after effects of it now. But having said that, it did keep me alive long enough to find you,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it kept me long enough to find fenbendazole, and
Yeah.
then dig down that rabbit hole. Thanks a lot, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Exactly.
I mean, of all people, you keep me vigilant. You keep me educated. You keep me vigilant, and I continue to dig down that hole. And as I dig down the hole, I I find more and more stuff that I didn't realize. And the reality of it is that this information has been published for years, and nobody's reinventing the wheel here. It's all been clinically tried.
Yeah.
I mean, even last week episode, when I talked about myrrh, you and I talked about myrrh and frankincense and mistletoe. There's so many stuff. You know what? And also, I got to circle back to this. I also talked about THC last week. on last week's episode, and I
Yeah, I
begged.
saw your Facebook getting blown up. Like I said, I don't know if it
Oh,
is
I
or yeah.
begged, I begged, I begged. Please, somebody send me some sort of medical scientific evidence that supports this. But then when I was talking to you earlier, you brought up a huge point.
Yes.
Why are they going to do any scientific testing on something that you can't monetize?
Yeah.
Right.
They
So,
can't. Yeah. It's a
you
natural.
know, you can't
Yeah.
patent, you can't
Yeah.
patent THC.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, why would they? So that is a good point. Maybe that's why it's not there.
It's
Maybe
like
that's
a
why.
lot of things. I mean, yeah,
Because
it's
it's
funny
health
because
free. It's health
well,
free.
you're right.
Yeah,
But even
I
like
believe it.
Fabinazole got is had papers written about it and everything like that, and how it's worked with cancer. But on the most part, you got to dig to find it, and obviously it's a lot more out there now because of Joe Tippins. But when I heard about it, I was like, you know, it doesn't sound like there's any side effects. It's been around for 40 years, and they give it the racehorses, like you say,
Yeah.
and like I said, if you were like my, I don't know, at that time maybe 20th person, I pass on indirectly. I just say, hey, check this out, check all these things, all things I found, the Samidine, the Tagamet, all that. The Barry Tan, Dr. Barry Tan with the Anato E. I heard that on another Cancer Secret podcast, and I go, "Oh my God, this guy's been studying the Anato plant for
You know what?
25 years."
Yeah.
Doctor, and he's like, "I hit the Holy Grail because of the Anato plant down there. I guess maybe Brazil, but that it's 100% of the tocotrienols, not the pherols or whatever.
The
Those are not the good
tocopherols.
ones anymore,
So who would
but
have
the
thought?
trienols. Yeah,
Of all the stuff that people with cancer take, if one of the things is not necessary, or if it's just dragging down the other thing, why
yeah,
take it, right? Eliminate it,
yeah.
and that's where the annatto comes through because you're only taking the part of the vitamin E that matters.
Yeah,
You
yeah, yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. And they
So
found out that the other one that we were taking back in the day that were telling us good for you is not necessarily good for you. So I make sure that it's 100% Anato E. But
yeah.
yeah. Do you need
Well,
to get out here on time? You need to cut it. Still with my nurse is okay. All right, my nurse is gonna hook me. But so we're good. So don't worry about that. But I want to say a couple things. Uh, your story is still my best story out of all the people that I pass it on to. And like I said, I pass it around to all different around the world. And just saying, I don't claim like you say that I'm a doctor or anything, but what I've seen, with my own two eyes, not from some Billy Bob down the road or whatever, his cousin, but this is, people that I know that was stage 4, stage 3, that would take this protocol that reversed it, or NED, no evidence of disease. So your story is the most amazing, especially because I didn't hear from you for 6 months, so I didn't know if you were going to do it, and then the way that you pulled up to your friend's place. I don't know if you want to tell that or you already told it on your thing, but that was amazing how he had it. Right?
you know what? I will tell you this.
Yeah,
So you know when you get told that they've exhausted all avenues and that they can't help you anymore and go home, and here's your caseworker. I had a social worker assigned to me for setting me up with hospice. And when they tell you that, you start doing some digging, right? You start you're scraping whatever you could do to stay alive, right? And then this crazy horse medicine thing came to light through you, right? But had it not been my sister who heard about this
yeah,
through church, and that led
yeah,
me to you, and then that conversation coincidentally led me to an unsuspecting person that I would have never thought was going to be the source of any good information medically, for sure. He's in the car industry. He doesn't know medicine, and had there not been that series of coincidences
yeah,
surrounding fenbendazole for me, right? It would have never come to my attention that this was obviously God's plan, right? I mean, I get pushed into the left turn lane. I get like there's so many a series of events that otherwise would have just never happened.
Yeah.
I gotta recognize it for what it is, and that is that it must be part of God's plan, right? And then,
You and
poof,
me both.
and then I get better, and then I start feeling well. Now I kind of feel like I'm in God's favor. So, yeah, you know what? I think there was a domino effect, certainly a ripple effect. It just it just took on a life of itself, and now hopefully we're helping other people by doing stuff like this, maybe if we keep doing these episodes, that's going to be what happens. And I just do want to point out the fact that you're getting good scans and stuff. Your numbers are jumping around a little bit, but you're getting good scans, and yet you're still staying vigilant enough. You're getting the IVs. You're constantly educating yourself. I mean, this is constantly.
Well, it's been 3 years, Kev. It's been over 3 years now since I've had the surgery, and so yes, my overall, and it's been going up, but it's still nerve wracking, especially for my wife. When the
Yeah.
numbers go up, and the highest I had, I was 201 on Signatera, and that was February of 2022, and so that was when the alarms went off, and so I was trying to do things. So it, I never got a negative. So I'm not gonna lie, I've always been jealous of you because you've had a negative Signatera out of the gates, and that's one of my goals. I never had a negative
You know
test, so
what though?
that's what I'm trying to get. Is that
Full disclosure though.
That's very rare.
Okay.
But she's able to stay today, so
Okay.
she will unhook you, but it has to stay wide open because she's got to go soon.
All right, thank you, my nurse. Just give me all the clear. But anyway, so what was I saying about this? The scan.
Well,
Oh yeah. So the only thing that's popped up here. So what I've also learned about cancer in the last 3 years, from friends and family, and that had it and fought it, and some didn't make it. That you don't let your guard down, and to be honest with you, I got because I was tired. You get tired of trying to be the good boy, eat right, and all this, and take this supplement. Remember, take this, and so there would be times where I'd go through periods where I wasn't doing all the stuff I need to be, even doing the protocol that I preached to everybody else, to you and everybody else. I said, listen, you have nothing to lose. You might as well add it. I don't care what you're doing with the other stuff, but add it to your protocol. Whatever your protocol is, whether that's conventional or not. And so this year I dropped it all the way down from 186 to 40 on my Signatera test. Then it jumped up to 186 again. It's weird. I was like, why? And I don't.
Oh, I lost your volume.
There you go. Sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, it was a phone call. And there's no reason why it's do not do disturb. But so so I got my numbers went up to 186, and I just dropped it down to 61. But there's a but. Is after the fact that my oncologist goes, hey, you got a nodule over here in your left lung, about the size of a pea. So obviously that's very disturbing, And she goes, there's a couple more over here that there's a lot smaller, not biopsiable, and so that for me was okay, enough fooling around. And so we're at DEFCON 5 in the family here, and so I added more to the protocol, and I upped all the other ones I was doing already before, So that's where we are right now, and so that's why I'm doing the IVC. I did add I added fucoidan on there, FUCOIDAN. I got that from my wife, got from Radical Remission, and seaweed from it's from a different place, but it comes out of Japan, and a lot of people that have done that alone with over there. I've been healed from cancer, So, and I said it's not a silver bullet. It's not cheap either. So I'm added that one, and then the other one is it's like Rick Simpson's, but it's a different little concoction. But anyways, which I've been hearing about all along. The CBD, the THC as an entourage effect, they all help. but I don't. Also got to work to pay for all these bills, so I don't want to be high all day. So that's what
Yeah.
suppositories are a lifesaver, a game changer, I should say, game changer.
Well,
So Kevin, to answer your question, no, I'm not. Is my numbers not like you anyway? I'm praying to get to where you were at, where you are right now. Not, God bless you, man. Your story is amazing. God, amazing. What you did to how you fought and persevered through all the, all the, what do you what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, all of everything that was being thrown at you, man. All this
adversity.
adversity. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. I was going to say shit, but I shouldn't cuss. But so you went through a lot, man, and so I'm like, yeah, I'm just in awe of what you've been through, and here you're here. That's the story, and also how you're giving it all up and passing it on, and being able to talk to people and answer questions. And so that is huge, and I'm doing that too, as much as I can. But it does. It's very good.
Just charting at the computer, so when you're ready, just hit your button.
All right, then we're almost done with the IV. All right, thank
Do you
you.
want to slow it down a little bit?
No, we're good.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm good. I can handle it. I mean,
I
yeah.
am so grateful that
Yeah.
You sure?
Yes.
so grateful that you're taking this call while you're in the middle.
Yeah, Ivy. So she's like, "Is it going too fast?" Because if you do it too fast, it freezes your arm. I mean, it's just you can really freeze it. But the main nurse had to leave. So anyway, so it's all good.
Wow.
I'm almost done. So yeah, so I did some things, but there's Kev. What I say is, I have a new outlook on life because of cancer, and so it's helped me in so many ways. It's with my marriage, everything. We brought us closer. Yeah, we had some hard time. Not gonna lie, we had hard times because of it too.
Yeah.
But we came out stronger, and it's like
Well,
almost like
you know what, Brent? You actually are kind of inspiring to me, because when we met, I was pretty much at my lowest point, and you seem very optimistic about things. Like, I've
Yeah.
never actually heard you be like, oh no, like, you've always been like, oh, well, we're going to deal with that. And this is how we're going to deal with it. And you have always had a plan that you put into effect. Now, I will say one thing, which I had a talking to you about this.
Yeah, I know you're gonna say.
You went astray there for a minute, and you started getting a little scatterbrained, right?
Yeah. I was all over the place. Yeah.
But and this
got
is
lost a little bit.
Selfish statement to make, right? For me, it's a selfish statement to make. By you doing that, I learned a little bit, right? Because you introduced me to ivermectin, you introduced me to the mistletoe concept.
Yeah.
A few different things. The annatto, I learned that from you.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, your trial and error has really benefited me. Thank you so much.
No, everybody's trial and error. That's what I do too, man. I'm not,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm obviously not the originator of any of this stuff, but once you, like you said, it's your life online, and you're like, and like I said, and I've always heard, you always said too, be your own personal advocate, and you really have to be when you get cancer, because they're so swamped, especially now. My in college, I get 15 minutes, 15 minutes, you go to the veterinarian, you get longer service than that,
You get 15 minutes with a doctor?
Yeah.
I go to Moffitt. I haven't seen my doctor. I've seen him 3 times in almost 4 years. My medical oncologist. Every other time it's a PA.
Yeah, you're right. For that matter,
great.
it is.
Who's
but
great.
I do get some time. I get some screen time with not screen time, but yeah, a little bit. She comes in there. She was like, "Okay, this is what's going on, and you want to do chemo?" I said, "No." I said, "We'll see you next time for the scan." And God bless her too, because I go, basically, I said, "You're there to help me, with thing." But I said, only chemo I would do. This is what I would never say I never would do chemo. I do low dose. I do low dose chemo, and so. But most of the integrative doctors, those are hard to find to do it. One, Jonathan Segal, Dr. Jonathan Segal in Atlanta, I think he's like $40,000, but he does low dose and mistletoe and all these other ones mixed in. So that's why. That's another reason. For me, even without paying with the IVC and everything like that, so much better, than in my opinion. And if we can do it this way, and it's beefing up my body, also know I'm getting the vitamin C. So I'm, if COVID pops his head again, God forbid, I'm beefing up my immune system for whatever is out there coming.
Yeah, and
Most importantly for cancer.
that's why I feel
Yeah.
like the active hectose correlated compound, the AHCC, which also I kind of learned that from you, but
Yeah. You took the. I was doing more turkey tail, but
yeah,
now the funny thing is I took yours. I'm doing turkey tail plus AHCC. So I'm
yeah. I mean,
doing double.
it supposedly maximizes your immune system. I never got COVID.
Yeah. That's
Well,
amazing.
full disclosure,
Yeah.
I did get 3 of those damn
Yeah,
shots.
3 of those.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
so I might drop at any time during this episode.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he cleaned it out, man. I think he cleaned it out.
Nah,
Yeah.
man, you know what? It's just a lot of people are having adverse effects with that whole thing, and I think
Yes, it's
by
so
mentioning
sad.
it, I think we just got tossed off of a few platforms. I think.
Probably. We
So,
didn't say anything, which it's all good. We talked it in
yeah.
code.
Well, YouTube already told me that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 They actually their attorney sent me a letter, so
Yeah. You can't say the word. I don't
can't
know if
say
we
a
ever
lot
will
of
be able to say
words.
the word. Yeah.
Can't
Yeah.
say a
It'll
lot
be
of
on
words.
this.
And
Yeah.
their new policy is actually, it's actually their new policy is even a suggestion that Western medicine is not the end all be all. Then if you suggest it, you're done. Their video's done. So you know what?
Yeah.
It is
Well,
what it is.
yeah.
But all right, well, hey, we actually are way beyond where we were supposed to cut off. So
Yeah, no, it's been great too. I'm done with my IVC, so the bag is dry, so I get to check out of here and head back.
man,
But yeah, it was great talking to you, man. God bless you, man. Because you've, like I said, I'm glad you contacted me, got back in touch with me, and told me your amazing story. That yeah, you definitely got in God's favor because your stories are miraculous for sure. And I love how you're spreading it, and you're seeing it too. So it's more validation that this is another one that everybody should be doing, in my mind.
well, you know
Uh,
what?
uh,
I,
uh,
I mentioned in several episodes, right? I emphasized the support system, right, and how vital the support system is. And there's really, it would be silly for us to toss. Like I mentioned, that cancer has actually been my opportunity to do a million things that I otherwise would have never had the vision to do, and that is build back a better version of myself,
yeah,
right?
amen,
So there's
amen.
no
You and both.
reason. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why. I mean, you're in my support circle. I mean, and if we continue to build this network, there's no reason why our support circle can't be huge. I mean, you want like the 4 or 5, solid, go-to people, but I don't talk to you every day,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I talk to you enough to know what you're doing, how
yeah,
you're doing,
exactly.
and how life is affecting things. And
We got to meet in person too, which is
yeah,
cool.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I got to meet you and your family,
yeah,
your
yeah. You're
in-laws.
one of my heroes. Yeah, so it's
Man, I
cool.
tell you what,
Mhm.
there's no reason why this network can't play a
Nah,
part
listen,
in
I got thrown in, and you both of all of us got thrown in this cancer club, reluctantly, but there's a lot of graces that come out of it. Yes, there's a lot of tragedy too. I'm not saying that, and it's something that we'll be dealing with for the rest of my
yeah,
life, right?
yeah.
So,
I
but
mean, you're still doing
I'm
it now.
I accept it. What's the alternative? Sitting there, you can cry. Everybody's got their issues and things going on in life, and then if we could help, I know that
Listen,
I got,
I'm not a
of
victim.
course,
I'm not a victim. You're not a
yeah, exactly,
victim.
exactly,
Cancer is
exactly.
just something that happened,
Yeah,
and I
it is.
feel like it happens for a reason. And you
Yeah,
know what?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
brought everything. You know
yeah,
what? I I regret a lot of chemotherapy. I mean, it did keep me alive, but gosh, I'm paying for it now. But it's the residual effects, the years after my bones are falling apart, my teeth are falling out of my face and all that stuff, right? So it's just there's residual effects. However, it kept me alive long enough to get to where I need to be, and I am very, very grateful for that. And you know what? Listen, I think this is the first time I've ever done anything like this with a split screen and having somebody else on. Dude, I think that this is so awesome, and it was so beneficial for me, right? So,
Yeah.
listen,
If one
anybody else
person
out
gets the
there,
message, Kev, if one person gets the message
yeah,
to the reach out or try it, and then so do what you're doing, what I'm doing, and look into it because, like I said, there's so much amazing stuff out there that unfortunately they are keeping hidden from us
yeah.
or making it difficult to find
I mean,
out. But the
my
good news, good,
no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. My cocktail, the fenbendazole,
yeah,
samidine, AHCC, curcumin, and
yeah,
annatto, those 5 ingredients, that's what I take, right? But that doesn't mean that it's the end all be all because there's a lot of other stuff that works. A lot of other stuff that works. That's just what I take. That's tried and proven for me and for a lot of other people. But there's a lot of other stuff that works. And you are exercising some of those things right now.
yes,
Hearing
yes.
from
And
some of
but
the
like I said, I told you I would stay with that protocol, the protocol that I passed on you. You amplified it. Obviously, you multiplied by 3 or 4 or 5, whatever you did, compared to what I was taking. So I was like, well, yeah, I'll do this. But if I'm at the point where I want to throw the other people's that survivors, thrivers that I've seen that what they've taken, whether it's radical remission or any Jane, or watching Crispy. I'm pulling from everybody, like everybody does. But it's good to have somebody that you can talk to and know that okay, this is what worked for me, and this is what you need. Here's how to get it, whatever, and all that. So that people need that because you're so lost when you get that
course. Yeah.
diagnosis. You're so in the cloud that you're trying to figure out what's up, what's down. So I get it, but you got to take a step back and remember, don't feel like they got to rush in. That's another thing. They're trying to pressure me into chemo so fast. And I remember Crispy Cancer saying in one of his videos that saying that, take a step back, think about, you're not going to perish tomorrow. That obviously they'll tell you if it's, they're doing the surgery to get the help you get to that place. But I definitely wasn't anywhere near that place, especially with
Yeah.
my scans and everything like that. So it didn't make any sense on
And
top of so.
that's the importance. I mentioned it before in previous episodes. The man that jumped on the horse and rode off in every different direction.
Yeah,
You
I
can't.
like that.
You
I like
can't.
that.
You can't ride off in every different direction.
Mm.
You gotta dial in something and at least try it for long enough to get some sort of an effect. And then if it doesn't work, then switch it up and then try that for long enough to get some sort of an effect or a result rather. But you know what? I think it's important. Like this, man, this has gone so good, right? So I'm really so if anybody else has anything they want to talk about or anything that they want an episode to be about, or if they want to come on and tell their story, because I've heard hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stories now from all over the world. And you know what? This is a chance to get that information out there. If you want to share your story with somebody, or if you just want to become part of my story, that's cool too. Brent,
Yeah,
you're a vital part of my story, and I'm so grateful for that. All right, but
yeah,
we're going to go ahead and
amen.
end this episode so we can get out of it under an hour, and
Right.
and I'll just go ahead and we'll circle back when you get out of the doctors. You could call me, and
Okay.
and we'll
All right.
continue the
All right. All
conversation.
right, brother. I appreciate you. God bless you and
All right,
everybody out
brother.
there. Keep up the good fight.
Hey, everybody out there, we're going to go ahead and end this episode right now. If you have any questions, you could always email me at beatingcancertoday@gmail.com, or you could DM me on Facebook. We're on all the other platforms too: Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Rumble, Truth, Kick, Twitch. We're on all of them, whatever they are. True Social. I don't know. We're on all of them. Anyway, go ahead and reach out and DM me. Best chances to get me through an email, beatingcancertoday@gmail.com. All right. Hey, thank you all for tuning in, and God bless you. And we will see y'all next week. Thank you, Brent.